We're also live, so we're good.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. We're just getting everything set up here.
Good
We're live.
morning.
I'm gonna say hello in the chat. Um, See who might be here watching this morning. So good morning, another live here from Explore Mixed Media. I'm here with Corinne Carpino and Terry Jones. I'm Laurie Williams, and today we're going to talk about working with stencils and stamps, and Corinne is leading this morning.
Sure. So when we do mixed media work, we're going to talk today, as Lori said, about using stamps and stencils to add consistent patterns. And so repeating elements such as colors, shapes, textures, patterns creates unity in our artwork and makes the piece feel intentional. And so we'll all probably take a different approach to it. But we are going to concentrate on those stamps and stencils, repeating patterns, and creating unity and harmony in our work today.
All right, that sounds good. I'm going to go ahead
Okay.
and switch my camera down to my work area
Yep, me too.
so we can get started there.
And I
So
just
for
change my
me
water.
today, I have decided to work. I have these in my stash or some old cardboards that I had gessoed to just do some fun things on, and I pulled those out. So this would be perfect for today. Will be perfect for these because I already had them gessoed. I already have some stenciling down. You can see some of the patterns already down, and I can just carry forward with that. So that's my plan for today.
Okay. And I have a piece of watercolor paper. I'm gonna start with a background of a watercolor wash and probably add a little bit of collage and do some stenciling and stamping.
Excellent.
Okay, and I have a 12 by 16 Bristol board that I've gessoed and put both white and black gesso on. So I will start too, kind of putting some colors together and then stenciling and stamping on top. So
Okay, so let's go.
I'm gonna
go.
since we have short time frame, we're just gonna use this one. I'm not gonna try to do them all. And I pulled out a few stencils to work with. And for stamping, I actually pulled out my mark making from the gel printing instead of my stamps. So I
Ah,
can use some of the just household items to stamp with.
very cool.
And I'm thinking springish, so I'm just going to start with some nice springy colors on here, and then I'm going to kind of do a watercolory wash too with acrylic, and then go from there. So we'll see what happens with mine.
Okay.
And
And I'm just using my Arataki watercolors.
I love those. They're so much fun.
Yes, they are.
So I'm gonna use collage. Someone this week asked what we were using for collage or what I was using for collage. And I
Uh-huh.
usually use this is my go-to here. It's the Liquitex matte medium. They
Yes, that's what
can
I
do the
use
gloss
too.
as well.
Yeah, I use when I'm putting heavier pieces, I do like to use the gel instead of the liquid, simply because it dries faster.
Yeah, good point.
So, especially I've been using the gel, and if I'm using transparent, if I'm trying to put some transparent on, I
Mm-hmm.
frequently use the gloss. And then I have to put a satin or a matte over it at the end, simply because I do find that the gloss works better for transparencies, for allowing it to become more transparent. I got that from Elizabeth St. Hilaire or whatever.
Yes.
Yes, she uses that. And I really like that it works well, but it is a kind of a pain because it's very glittery.
It's
I don't like,
glittery,
well, glossy, you know, it
glossy. Yeah.
reflects. So I was using it. I noticed the other day when I was using it to put down some tissue paper that that area was reflecting in my
Ah,
no. Anyway. So I'm going to quickly dry this and be right back.
okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to mute myself and go dry mine.
Okay, sounds good. I'm still putting down a little bit. I pulled a little piece of the tissue that I was using in one of our previous sessions to add a little bit of interest at the top and the bottom. So I'm just using matte medium to collage that down and wrap around the edges here. Oops, ripping is fine. That'll give it a little bit extra interest on top of what I have going on already. Also make it a little more spring because I think it was the fall when I started painting these, and you can see I've got the fallish colors there, but now I'm going to turn it into a spring piece. And this won't take too long to dry, I don't believe. And I'm going to take a second here and see if there's anyone here this morning. If you are watching us live, say hello in the comments. If you're not watching us live, I have a question for you. Do you like working with tissue paper in collage, or have you? It's a lot of fun. I end up collecting tissue paper all the time. And funny story, my sister comes over to visit. She also does collages with tissue, and I didn't know she did. And she started going through my pantry and looking at all my decorative napkins and pulling them out. I said, "What are you doing, collage or something?" And she goes like, "Yeah, how'd you know?" It was just kind of funny. We both started laughing because we were both doing the same stuff. I said, "Well, I'm going to come raid your pantry next." All right. I'm gonna dry mine as well. How's it coming, ladies?
Mine's going good,
Good.
but I just put another whole layer of something on it, and this was just left over on my little paddles here. So I'm putting this on, and then I think I'm gonna start working on just putting some pattern in with I'm not going to use any collage today. I was figured I'd do something
Okay.
different. So I'm going to use I'm going to use just stencil.
So Terry, you faded out just where you said I'm going to use.
Stencils,
Okay.
stencils,
I'm
just
just gonna,
stencils, just
good. I'm just gonna
stencils.
use a couple pieces of collage.
I'm experimenting with whether this is going to pull up, and I don't know. This one might be too small to pull up. Sometimes, nope, it's not going to pull up, and it's just drying. Has anybody? It's been very, very, very cold up here, so I've had to have basically electric heat on in here. And
Uh-huh.
last night I was trying to do a video, and my acrylics were drying so fast I couldn't even. It was weird. I'm just not used to the drying times being quite as dramatic as they were. So I'm going to just throw some color on in. Just keep on looking at this piece. I might put a piece of collage in. See, I lie all
Okay.
the time.
I'm on to some stamps. I'm gonna use one of my favorite stamps with writing on it, and I think it's in French. Get rid of my watercolors because I'm done with those.
So the first thing I'm putting in is trying to look a little stamps, but I think I'm going to go with this. Okay.
And I'm just using black ink. So I make sure I get some black in here. Oh, which way do I want to do that? Maybe up and down.
So, and I've done this white or this light background here, and I'm just putting some kind of darks in with this little, this is a PM Artist Studio. I love this PM Artist Studio stencil. So I'm just throwing some stencils in. And this one's a fairly large piece. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll do this a large piece like this, and then I'll cut it up. This is just the
Mhm.
foundation for where I'll cut it up and decide what I'm going to do, whether it's going to be a cards or a painting, or I can do a lot of different things with it. So that's frequently what I do. And I love to flip the stencil over if it's got stuff on it and put the reverse
Mhm.
places. So here I've got a little bit of this, and then I'm going to probably stop using this stencil. So I've got some darks and I've got some lights. I want to get some, just a little of these circle-y things. And I do not frequently use the whole stencil. I use pieces of the stencil. So
Yes.
that's my kind of beginning on that one. And it should be almost dry on that side, not quite. I should maybe just put this here so it dries really quick, more quickly than I've been doing. And so I'm going to work through on a different.
So I am repeating my patterns as I go around this.
I am doing the same thing.
And I will be doing the same thing too. Gonna add some purple to it and grab one of these. As per usual, I am always have the wrong thing at the wrong space. So all of my little makeup sponges are in town because I'm getting ready for a demonstration on an art gala there. So I had everything set up and then I go, oh, great. Now,
Okay, I'm liking that. Let's see. We're still in February, so we're still on hearts. So I think I made myself a little stencil with just a heart punch on a piece of translucent Duralar.
oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I didn't have any stencils with hearts in it, so let's see. I don't want these to be really loud, so I think we'll just use a really light, what is this? Peach tone, but it's kind of pinky. This is that Nova color.
Oh, yeah, it is very pinky.
Very pinky.
I
I
like it.
usually
I
use it
like
when
it
I'm
though.
painting
Oh, that's a
faces.
pretty color though.
It is. So,
So I just have makeup sponges. I cut them up in little pieces so I can dab them down. And I like the thicker paint for these things too.
yeah, it's like the Nova color is a little thin for this, but Um, it'll be okay. Oh, Laura, you and I are like we're all working in similar colors.
That's
Are we?
funny. Yeah.
It
Yeah,
is funny.
I didn't even pay attention to that.
Neither did I. We're all in that same color mood today.
Must be, must be. Well, I'm trying to get mine dry a little bit and then I'm gonna grab another.
Mine's pretty wet, but I'm just gonna keep going.
Put a
Get
few
down there.
letters in mine, and then I'm going to do a color wash on everything, I think.
Ah. And I want some circles, and I don't have a circle stamp, but I have this graduated circle thing. Need to create some connection from one side of this to the other. Where do I want to put it though? Maybe in there. I'm going to use a Posca pen.
And
I like that.
not that hard.
Smearing. I'm making a mess.
You're making a mess.
I always make a mess. You know, I'm looking through things going, how could I lose what I just had? I just had it.
Okay. And maybe some white.
Yeah, I had to put some gesso down and push some of that stuff back. It was way too busy.
Well, and I'm going to use a little bit of, I think I'm going to end up glazing this whole thing in a moment, but I'm still putting some darks in before I glaze.
And what are you going to glaze with?
Oh man, that Michelangelo gold I love.
I do too. I have just a little bit of it left.
Oh man, I ordered 4 of them when I heard they were going out. So I was like,
So on YouTube, Jackie Bernardi
uh-huh.
has, if you can find it, um, she has a recipe for combining colors. I know she uses um, red iron oxide and something else and comes up with something very close to the Nico Hazel gold.
Well, and Golden just came up with something too. That's
Oh, I didn't
pretty
know that.
fabulous. Yeah. So it's pretty fabulous. So I like,
I'll have to look for that.
I can't get, some of my stamps that work really well on gel plates, they
Uh-huh.
don't work really well without. So I think I'm going to try to put a gel plate underneath of this and see if it solves my problem. Because it's like, okay, this works really well on a gel plate, but it won't, well, it works better, but it doesn't work well on my, just as a regular stamp. That's no fun.
Um,
Okay, I have my gel plate here. I really have to get some squares in here. This is not working. So I'm going to work on getting some squares in here because I can see that I have nothing but circles. Which is weird because I started off with these. Yeah, maybe I have some squares. Okay, well, is it dry enough yet?
Yeah, that's part of what I was dealing with.
Yeah. Well, and there's just so many different Sharpies come up with this interesting little they call them creative markers. And
Okay.
they're kind of fun to just throw some color through, and they're an acrylic. They're not a alcohol ink, which I really like. And so I can just go and play like I just did there with these markers, and they're really good for stuff like card making. I am not sure, unless I put it in one of the bottom layers, whether I'd use it for like a big collage thing, but it is really kind of fun for card making, and which is what I think this is going to be. And just throw some more color in here. And
Now, I feel like I have a really good background for something that I need to make. I
yeah,
need to go back to last week and add some sort of focal point because I have a really nice background. With a
yeah.
lot of interest, but not really a focal point.
Well, and I think that a lot of times when I'm using these, I'm not thinking necessarily of a focal point. I really am more thinking of what happens. It's kind of fun. You know, what's happening when this is an under part for a painting. It's not my finish, because I'll put 3 or 4 different layers on this. This may end up being a bunch of either cards or flowers or something. But as an interesting layer, I'm starting to like this. I'm not sure what this is, but ooh, and I'm using colors that I have from my palette, and I'm just kind of putting it all over this. And then the intention was to drip something on, but I'm not sure at this point whether I'm going to do that. How are we doing on time?
Let's see. It's 11:23.
Okay, well, so this may end up having to be finished later, but it's a really fun background.
Yeah, it is. I like
Lots
it.
of
I love that stencil. It has the clock in it.
I do too. I love the stencil with the clock in it, and I'm feeling I'm thinking March, because we're marching into when I'm going to be doing the, starting, well, it's not next week after next, I'm going to be doing the month. And
Mhm.
some reason March and clocks and time, it's like time marches on, the Ides of March or whatever. And so I've been though I have a few hearts in here, I've been getting a little out of the hearts and into the clocks. The last piece that I did had a bunch of clocks in it too. So now, let me try drying it, see if I have time to put one more layer on it. And is it dry yet? Not quite dry.
I'm gonna look for a piece of collage paper. That's going to go with this. Oh, yes, maybe this piece.
Okay, let me see. That's where. Okay, I'm gonna go with that. Every other word is where are you?
Everyone is very quiet.
I know.
I'm trying not to have my. uh, I am just going to see what happens with a little drippy in here. So
Okay.
this is my, I decided that I still want to do a, I was going to stay still on this. It's kind of a warm, cool side, I guess is the best that I can describe it. Because it's not really, and so I've put a little bit of this cobalt teal on, and I've dripped some, I don't know if you can see it dripping down. And I might put some on up here too and wet it and drip it down. But I don't, oh, come on.
So I need a focal point, even though this is fun.
I haven't, I haven't.
I'm
even-
gonna I'm gonna put a piece of collage paper on here. I just have to figure out where. Like there, here. I keep going back there, so I guess that's where I want to put it. And this is rice paper, so I'm gonna put some glue on the back of here, or matte medium before I put it on.
Oops.
Of course, I like it just like that too, so we'll see if I like it with this down. At least it gives a focal point.
All right, I went and found a couple of stamps here to use.
Okay.
Okay, well, and I did the drippy thing, and
Uh-huh. Did you like it?
I like it for what, see, this is
It's a
my
background.
background, right? And then I'm going to do another layer on top of it in warmer colors, and then I will see what happens from there. In my mind, I'm still, I have a feeling that it's going to be, I'm not quite sure what it's going to be yet. It hasn't become yet. But this is what I do a lot. I just call them starts. They're just the beginning of something. And I love doing it this way because it just gives me a lot of options. So I'm going to try it.
I've got a lot going on here, but I'm gonna use a little bit of gold ink on a stamp. So I'm gonna just put a few little markings on here.
Well, Lori, I love how yours is just kind of, I love that drippy that happened with yours. What did you use for it?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
The drippy on the top that happened on yours.
Uh-huh.
What did you use for it?
I used some golden quinacridone magenta in a high fluid acrylic, and I
Mm-hmm.
still
Oh,
had to
cool.
take some water on the brush to get
Yeah.
it to activate and move. But thank you.
Okay, well now I'm looking at mine and thinking of more
It's
of
good.
starting maybe my next level, but I'm not sure. It's still a little wet.
It looks great.
Yeah, it's a little wet, and I think I'm gonna, we're over time, so I
We
think,
are over time, so I'm going to take my tape off and we'll see what we have.
oh, I like yours.
This is coming up as, this is a little bit big, but these are fun if you make them smaller for just like greeting cards.
Yeah, a lot of times I take these and cut them in quarters for greeting cards,
Mm-hmm.
but I may use this as the foundation for my demo.
I love it. I love both of yours. Very nice. I just have decided I'm going with a bouquet of flowers here. I'm putting in my outlines and I'll paint them in.
Oh, how nice. Yeah, that'll be pretty.
I'll push some of this back probably with some white gesso just so it's not so the background isn't overwhelming. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's my plan. So we will see what happens with it.
All right.
I'll
So
look
I think
forward.
we all did a great job of creating consistent patterns and repeating elements with our stamps and stencils. And ladies, I can't wait to see your finished work. So let us know what you do, Lori and Terry, with your backgrounds and
Okay.
post them to the Facebook page.
We'll do. We'll do.
All
And
right.
if you're new to the channel and you want to see get together with us, we have a Facebook group, Explore Mixed Media, so you can go over there and join that group. And also check out the website because we do have a patronage that where you can join us and get monthly projects beyond what we do here live. Sometimes we extend what we've done here on the live so you can see us go through the whole process to finish some of our projects. Plus there's other unique projects available there as well. So that's exploremixedmedia.com. So thanks for joining us today and we'll see you next Friday.
Okay, great. Thanks, Lori. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.